Welcome back to the second set of the day, the Poppies versus Snake Pit. You got to see Poppies earlier today, right before SPL, bringing them here for their second set of the week in the European Challenger Circuit. J Mac Tucker here still with Alpha Jackal, bringing you this next one. And after the three-game set between those two teams, I'm looking for potentially a three-game set between these two. I mean, this is like the battle for second place for these two.
Absolutely. I mean, the Pappies, they finished second place in the last split finals. They managed to actually take down Belt Slap and force them into the lower bracket. They did get 3-0'd by Belt Slap in the grand finals, but that's beside the point. They managed to take down some decent competition earlier today, and they're looking to do it once more. It was a nice clean 2-0 for them at the very first set of the day before the SPL. It could be another statement of intent if they actually get another 2-0 here.
And not to mention, Czechio with a pentakill this afternoon on the Cupid, of all things, to really start the day out. So, I mean, they're going to be coming and riding off the high from that one. So I expect this to be a really good matchup between these two teams. I mean, Snake Pit last week taking down Cold Llamas, and then Poppies also taking down Cold Llamas today. So these two have really shown that this is the battle for second and third, keeping Cold Llamas in that fourth spot. The first band we're going to see, Set. That's not what we've been seeing all day.
You have all those bands along the bottom, all those picks below them, and you choose Set as your ban.
They hit the random god wheel, and then just whatever it landed on is what they ban?
We'll have to see if they do the exact same thing here. You know, if it's another random band like Chuck is your next ban. Oh, we have to ban Chuck now. No, it's going to be the Merlin. Not traditional ban, but more justifiable than the Set.
Yeah, I'm really hitting the big question mark on this Set ban. Possibly a respect ban towards the side of Snake Pit taking a shot at the jungler, but it just feels so strange that you get Set taken off the table. Either they're that worried about the Set, or they feel that that is their best way. If you keep their jungler off of Set, then there's nothing you need to worry about.
I mean, maybe they also feel like they can have sort of this throwaway ban as their first ban. They don't necessarily need to ban out the highest priority picks. They can just ban out two things and just keep Snake Pit on their toes. So they just ban out something which they don't necessarily want to pick themselves, don't necessarily want to play against, but don't necessarily also think that Snake Pit will potentially take up as a hidden strategy from them. They could also have been losing to it in scrims consistently and just need to get out of the way and done with. But the Ganesh ban, that is a target ban here at Draco Marino on the side of the Pappies, but it does leave open Cthulhu. He did struggle on Cthulhu earlier today, but it's still Cthulhu solo lane.
It's still a Cthulhu that you're giving away. Snake Pit are going to be picking up Jing Wei this time around for their first pick, and maybe a Yamoja along with it, like we saw the last time. Yamoja didn't get banned. Morgan's still getting banned regardless. Morgan and Persephone both being taken away. This time, finally, the second ban is the one taking Morgan off the table. And will be a Yamoja locked in alongside that Jingwei for Snake Pit.
So the dual lane's already set in stone here for the Chaos side. The Pappies on the order side still need to think of pretty much everything else outside of the solo lane. Cupid being reprised here. Could be going to Warchi in the ADC position. Could be going back onto Pentakill himself, Czechio, in that mid lane. He did get it on the Cupid as well. With the Oleron surfacing once more, it is a flex pick between the two. Just pick whoever goes best in the ADC position is going to go ADC.
Yep, and then the Arachne, as we've been seeing that she has been a top pick and ban amongst the EU SCC. She will finally make her way onto the battleground today for our first game of the second set. And right into the second phase of bans we go. Fafnir. I like the ban of Fafnir here just because of Cupid Oleron.
I love the Fafnir ban. It's a good heads-up ban just because not only because you have two basic attacks on the side of the Pappies, but because of that Sanctified Field, means that you can stay stunned forever with Fafnir's CC combo. It is a absolute nightmare to get out of. Sobek going to be taken off the table by the Pappies. Option back over to Snake Pit, taking away the Bakasura, taking a shot at the jungle here. So one last ban. It's going to be the Thoth in the mid lane. Not so much setup here on the side of the Snake Pit yet, but elected to take away the Long Artillery Mage.
Well, there's a little bit of setup for him with the Amaterasu locked in, going over into the solo lane for the Snake Pit. So with that locked in, We still have a Jormungandr available to pick up, as he hasn't been banned away just yet. And I know that in the past, Snake Pit has been notorious for banning the Jormungandr away. It's something that they don't like playing against. So I'm surprised they left it open coming here in the second phase.
Yeah, but the Jormungandr isn't going to be taken up. It's going to be the Amaterasu instead. Xing Chen is going to be the selection here for the Papis, and Kali, the jungler of choice. Good amount of setup here, good amount of control here for the Poppies, good amount of teamfight separation, and then once the target's nice and isolated, who's there but Queen Chainsaw herself, as the Kali gets locked in for the jungle. Scylla going to be the instant response here for the Snake Pit in the mid lane. One of the few gods that can actually start to get away from the Kali in those teamfights.
And I like the pickup of the Xing Chen here, not allowing... well, obviously, they're probably not going to pick it up at this stage, but I like the Xing Chen in their hands because of the amount of potential auto attack damage that both of these two teams have. Terram, Worst Turtle, and Spudio, all who can deal some heavy basic attack damage. So I really love the Xing Chen pickup by Draco. Yeah,
I mean, we saw how devastating Xing Chen was in our previous set in that second game, and there's no surprise to see that it's going to be picked up again here. Rest of Snake Pit, sorry, just making sure that those webs on that blue buff are secure and safe. Look how many of those early game wards they put down thanks to their Vision Relic. 4 of them placed up just to make sure that those webs stay up and this strat does work out.
You can see 2 wards for the Poppies as well placed up here. One by the Shrine and then one on its way to the mid camp. As they're really trying to make sure that they have vision control and know where this Arachne is going. This Worst Turtle is going for a purple start, allowing the Emoja to clear the speed buff. We're going to quickly drop a hog onto that one to make sure they can steal that one away. Worst Turtle, are they going for a level 1 invade?
Oh, he's been spotted out. That was going to be their plan, is level 1 rotation. Just have the Arachne and... Okay, he's going to miss the web there. I think if he hits the web, that was going to be, potentially going to be a kill, but... Very strange and unorthodox start here by the Pappies. Potentially could have worked out had there been, that web connection. But Dazer by himself farming up thanks to some help for those webs. They do forfeit those mid camps, but I'm all for trying stuff. That's something that works out in scrims. Why not use it?
I mean, with a god like Arachne, you can set things up like that, no problem. You leave spiders at the speed buff, so you have the Emoja tank it up, so that way the spiders don't die. You get maximum efficiency with that. Let the solo do his blue buff, and then what do? Go take something else. So, I mean, Arachne basically got credit for 3 buffs in that one little skirmish.
Yeah, and was able to hit level 2 before the first wave even died on the right-hand side. It's just a shame that Warchi was, rotating through the jungle rather than rotating through the lane. And that's what caught him out for it.
Stun going to be off the mark as Draco Marino able to leap away from there. And Dazer just going to continue clearing out and trying to apply pressure for them. Warchi going to get stunned out by 1 Moonblast and a little bit of basic attack damage out of the Emoja just to keep them pushed away. Xing Chen Cupid, not the best of lane clear.
No, but they're fine to, succeed the pressure in this early game. Because they were going to go ahead and succeed it anyway thanks to the Emoja in the dual lane. Even though there wasn't a Arachne there for the first one. But they're just going to hope that once they hit that level 5, that's when the tides will turn thanks to their superior teamfight abilities.
I'm curious what Worst Turtle is going to do beyond here. I like the start. He has hit level 4 first, thanks to the triple buff camp that he got at the start of the game and then rotated right over for red as well. So he got his hands on all 4 of the first rotation of the buffs. I mean, that's honestly kind of impressive for a jungler.
Oh yeah, it's extremely efficient, extremely impressive, and he's going to find himself at level 4 whilst Marcus is still at level 3. If I'm the Arachne, I'm going to want to start looking at this Kali's jungle instead of my own. I'm going to want to try and look for some invades as soon as possible.
Gonna take the blue buff on the top side and give that one over to Terram. Their speed is down, so they'll clear out their shrine and maybe look to go back to base, but the red buff is respawning now, so that's another bit of experience that this Arachne can go and pick up before they go back to the base. Just waiting out for their Golden Blade, most likely, before they make their return back into the jungle.
It could be a Golden Blade, could also be the serrated edge that we've been seeing that's made Arachne very proficient and such a danger to play against in this meta. But the Golden Blade will help out with this clear early on quite quickly, and then most likely going to go into the boots, then into the serrated edge.
Worst Turtle does hit level 5 off the back camp. Still hasn't elected to go back to base. Now we'll finally decide to hit that B button and make their way back. Worst Turtle will go back, and it will be the Golden Blade for their first item picked up. Meanwhile, Marcus went for the Mace level 1 compared to the one of the Katanas.
So that is going to be just a bit more clear power for him with his abilities, just not so much so in the basic attack. That's most likely going to be in the Crusher. So we're going to go for more ability-based Kali in the early game. Whilst we're still, you're an Arachne, you have to go into the Golden Blade. You have to go into basic attack-based build. So there's no surprise to see that being picked up here.
And Arachne, not really known for her early clear, even with the help of the spider. She does kind of struggle with that Golden Blade. Will be able to help her out. Creed on the Cthulhu is, for some reason, somebody let this god through. As if nobody has seen what Final K has been able to do on this god. I don't understand why he isn't just banned every game.
He's a big boy, isn't he? He is massive in that solo lane, and he will always be a big boy, especially when he just gets on ultimate.
I mean, it's kind of hard to fight against the chunk, man. I mean, this guy is insane. Spudio has to use his airstrikes. They'll take the damage from the Fields of Love out of Warchi, but that's pretty much how that's going to go every single time. Warchi presses 4, so Spudio presses 4, and then that's it. No need to use beads there, ever.
But now it's opened up an opportunity for Marcus and maybe even Draco Marino to come over and force out those beads, and then they have Spudio right where they want him. Going to be, have to force rotation from Worst Turtle and Daze, and maybe with Angry just to get him out of a bad situation if Spudio likes to push up to the tower.
Chekio gonna go for his red buff as it comes back up off of the respawn. Warchi will go right back to his lane to get his purple buff, and with the damage buff right around the waist of Chekio, he'll make his way back with Draco Marino to clear up the next wave of minions that pop through. No major action just yet after the failed attempt to start. And I say that, Draco Marino immediately gets the Whirlwind of Rage and Steel. Worst Turtle isn't too worried by it. In fact, he's going to walk away just fine, only ulting when that Sanctified Field comes out, as well as the ultimate out of the Emoji. I'm a monster off the mark from Angry. It's the beads out of Chekio just to get away from him.
Okay, so Draco Marino doesn't have to expend his blink, so he can use that blink to blink root somebody as the next form of engagement. Marcus still has his available for a blink stun. Going on the other side. Beads have been forced out from Dazer as well. Dazer would like to get the beads. Angry forced to use his beads as well. Worst Turtle didn't like to pick those up, but liked to blink up the blink instead, which is why we saw the engagement happen there from Draco Marino, trying to force out that wall crawler ultimate. Forces it out at the very end of the fight rather than the beginning.
Draco at half health, looking to try and defend his jungle. Looks like that was stolen away by Worst Turtle and Tarum, unless Creed was able to manage to grab that one with the mire over the wall. I'm not sure if he did. Everybody just jumps anyway, so you never know if that jump is celebration or just jumping because you want to jump.
You just want to jump. You always want to jump when you're playing that god, don't you?
I think when you're playing any god. For a while, Baba Yaga didn't have a jump, and I was kind of upset. I didn't want to play her anymore.
It just feels... I don't know. It feels kind of weird if you're pressing that spacebar and you don't have a satisfying jump. It's like, oh, well, I'm sad now.
Yeah, jumping really is one of the most satisfying things in really this game specifically, because in a MOBA, it's typically, a top-down perspective, so you don't really have that Z-axis to mess with, but so one grand thing about SMITE is you do have that Z-axis, so jumping is just kind of a aesthetically pleasing thing to do when you're doing nothing else.
With access to something sweeter though is the rep buff. Chekio gonna pick that one up on the all-around mid lane. Saw that in the last set for 2 games as part of Donkey Who's mid laner. Dazer, no beats available this time, getting pulled back into tower. This could be the kill, but no, Riptide gets him out of the tower. And then able to continue that CC chain. Chekio's ultimate is still not available. Maybe just waiting until that Sanctified Field was up before that engagement could have felt a difference between getting First Blood and escaping like he did.
Barely managing to scrape by that one. Even got hit by the knockup from Chekio, but that Riptide coming in clutch for him. They'll split those Oracles out 1-1 between Worst Turtle and Warchi. Make sure that they can give neither team the advantage of having vision by that Gold Fury, which means we're not probably going to see any scuffles for it too early on. Chekio going to go back and clear out the shrine, give his team a little bit of extra global gold. Always making sure to keep efficiency on that shrine.
Shrine efficiency, the most important thing for a jungler to do these days. Who cares about the debuff? Who cares about ganking and getting kills for your team? Who cares about the objectives? It's all about that shrine efficiency right now these days. Crusher can be picked up here for Marcus, like we thought it was going to be. Just to aid in some DPS, thanks to the bleed coming out from not just the lash, but the leap as well will also now apply a bit of a dot to it, and probably going to go into a Haste Katana next, just to allow them to stick to some targets.
And that's kind of the name of the Kali is. Once you get 3-4 items, then you just stick to somebody like glue and swing your chainsaws rapidly in hopes that you can take them down a little bit faster. Or kind of one of the remaining true hyper carries in Smite between Kali, Mercury, and a few other gods. Freya, Freya less so now, the true hyper carry, because she gets that stage so much sooner than other gods do. Warchi putting a lot of poke on a Spudio. Spudio not going to use his own ult, instead just going to hold it and take the damage from that Fields of Love.
Yeah, and a bit of a different build here than you usually see from Cupid. Selected to go into the Devoured's Gauntlets rather than the Transcendence Rush. So a bit less power online here for Warchi, but has more innate sustain where those base attacks not forced to rely on the heart for healing. Terrible.
All the way up at the front, Worst Turtle's going to use the Infinite Web to get away from the Whirlwind of Rage and Steel out of Draco Marino. Stun onto Creed. He walks himself on back, so ult for ult expended, just to make sure that Worst Turtle doesn't get caught out of a bad position.
That's not really a bad position for Worst Turtle, given that I did suggest that it's something that you would be looking to do as the Arachne at this stage of the game, or a bit earlier, was trying to invade onto Kali, stop Kali getting to that hyper carry stage that you were talking about. Ward's going to be taken out there, and so far so good for the Pappies, I'd say. They're still within touching distance of the Snake Pit, only 1,000 gold behind, and their composition, I'd say, will scale extremely well into that late game. Not to say the Snake Pit doesn't, but a much better Pappies draft.
Oh. And there goes Chekio off the first blood from Tarim. Dazzling offensive plus the shot from the mirror is more than enough damage to take out the mid laner. Draco Marino doesn't have that second lead. Yama Monster connects, and Worst Turtle hits it with the last basic to clean up their second kill of the game. Snake Pit now 2-0 up on the board and 2,000 gold to their name.
Caster's Curse again? I'm 2 for 2 today on Caster's Cursing.
Yeah, you need to stop with that. I'm gonna have to revoke your caster card.
Oh, come on. But I like my caster card. I really do.
Yeah, I mean,
just gets evaporated from that die for Terrum.
Oh. 2 quick kills on the board for Snake Pit. Extend their already somewhat lead that they had. About 1,000, I believe, they had beforehand. Now adding that extra first blood bounty and a bonus kill on top of it. Keeping Chekio down, but to me, the thing that sticks out is Marcus, who's the notorious more late game jungler, has been keeping up with Worst Turtle, even despite that little cheeky start that Worst Turtle made. He hasn't really made much of a lead off of it.
He's not been able to invade onto Marcus's camps. And Marcus, he's been around this game quite a while. He will know some of the more efficient paths to take, how to get, as much farm as possible, especially on a god like Kali. And, well, they don't seem to remember the gold fury exists. That's going to be taken out very easily here for Snake Pit. They extend their lead even more. Gold difference drops down to just shy of 3,000 in the favor of Snake Pit, as is the experience. But so far, like I said, it was good for the Poppies, but Snake Pit have turned it around into being a good start for them in this mid game.
And that's one of the strengths that Snake Pit has, is really just sneaking these objectives when you least expect it. I mean, nobody from Poppies even thought to think about the Gold Fury at that point. And Snake Pit was like, you know what? Let's just go for it and see what happens. And there was no response to it, so they just get to walk away with the free objective. Draco Marino jumps on top of Angry, but luckily for Angry, he's got the Sentinel. Gets right back into the safety of the tower. Draco Marino presses
interrupted.
Presses that ultimate. That's the downside of having your ultimate sometimes on that instant cast, if he does have it on there, is when your blink gets interrupted, you just kind of, oops, I didn't mean to hit that.
We've all been there. We've all done the classic Ares fist pump, as I like to call it. Just standing gloriously in midair, golden, with no chains coming out of you, saying, I have you now. We've all done that.
He's got Casper now. That's about all that he's got onto that one when you did that. And we don't even try and lie. Everybody has been there at some point, you and I included, and me especially, on multiple gods, multiple accounts, multiple times, even sometimes in the same game. But moving on from there, an unfortunate button press at a Draco Marino, an unfortunate minion that maybe have tapped him there before he was able to get that blink off.
There's going to be a difference in builds from the supports as well. Emotion, not typically a god that goes into the Gauntlet of Thieves straight away. Likes to go for this Breastplate of Valor simply to unlock her passive. Just gives her some more Omi with that passive available. Warchi in the losing end of a trade there. Marcus coming over to see what he can do to rectify the situation. Blink, stun. Stun is not going to be effective though, because CC Immunity out from that airstrike, and away goes Jingwei. Spuddy are going to go back to base and heal up, come back in, and nope, Snake Pit also get themselves a Pyromancer here.
Oh, they might be getting themselves a Draco Marino caught in the middle of the River's Rebuke. Ultimate doesn't even have a chance to come out as Angry smacks him with the crush, and pop goes the Draco Marino. Xing back to the fountain for a couple of seconds.
It's longer than a couple of seconds. It's about 16 actually remaining on that respawn time. A worst turtle to invade. Well, we're still not invading. We're just getting Angry in his own buff to go ahead and take out the oracles as well. And now starting to look into the enemy jungle. Ward over the wall. Sees that the red buff is not there. Looks to Chekio instead to see if he has it. He does, and that's gonna be all she wrote. Maybe it was looking for the aggression in mid lane, but you know, Chekio sniffed that one out.
I mean, if I'm Poppies, I'm trying to make a play here on Despudio. No beads, no ultimate available to him, but unfortunately, they just don't have the opening to do so. There's no way they can try and close this gap. Even with the tier 1 tower down, Despudio's playing so far back.
He's playing this far back because he's up against, you know, the might of the Snake Pit roster. He's up against this Arachne who is very notorious and self-heal from, but you know, the Arachne can't really go anywhere else other than mid lane. You know, he goes up against Watching to get slowed by that Fields of Love ultimates and force up into that Infinite Web early on. Well, early on, though, she would have liked. But, and he can't really go over and gank over an Icrete. That's a Cthulhu. You don't want to gank a Cthulhu at this stage of the game, or any stage of the game. So let's just play Chekio. But Chekio has to play this Starlight.
Into the mid lane, the red buff will drop for Chekio, so he'll put that one back around his way. So little Riptide earlier actually gets Dazer out of the hook slam from Draco Marino. A nice little play on that one. Managed to throw it down right before the knockup came through. Dash out of Creed. He's going to get stunned out by the Arachne. He's going to force him up to the ultimate. He's already at a quarter health. Angry, forced to walk away with the Ammo Monster. He'll throw it through and get the reset onto it. Creed falls. That's one down. Marcus barely manages to leap away in time. But right into the River's Rebuke, he will jump. Warchi going to take quite a bit of damage from it. He's down to a quarter health himself. Dazer going to throw the bouncing bubble out, but all the while, Spudio has made a 4 rotation back with his passive. But Chekio drops the ultimate on Draco Marino, throws 2 against the wall into the Fields of Love, and pop goes Spudio as the field explodes. Worst Turtle blinking in. Warchi taking a lot of damage, but not enough as he manages to get to the heart. And Worst Turtle falls to Chekio, making it 3 kills for the side of the Poppies.
Never discredit the Papis. Never say they're out of the game, because this will always happen. They will always get a good team fight, and they will always get back into the game. That is, it's like a hidden power. It's like that passive. You know, the passive of the Papis is always win a team fight to get back into a game, even when things seem this bleak. And they're going to go ahead and you know, snatch up 3 kills, snatch up a tier 2 tower, snatch up this Oni Fury most likely, thanks to the fact they got double base attack against God. Will not started because they wanted to kill Creed on Cthulhu.
Great body blocking by Creed to keep Tarim away from this Oni Fury. He is not going to be able to find a home into that one. Oni Fury falls for the Poppies, and Dazer may have set his own doom. He managed to get 1 stun through, but an ultimate out of Creed is actually body blocking Warchi from being able to move anywhere through. Dazer, because of that, and the beautiful Riptide managed to find their way through. The Poppies get an objective. They're bringing themselves right back through. Now 400 gold in their favor, despite being down nearly 4K earlier. We get to see a little bit of a replay here at the fight where Chekio rotates in, gets that Sanctified Fields off huge after locking Dazer out. And there's the start of the major fight for it. Gets the 1 kill too, and it's all downhill from there as Draco Marino throws 2 into the wall and then into the Fields of Love as a massive follow-up.
And he uses both his relics perfectly there. He uses the Aegis to stop the damage coming out from the crush. Puts the beads out as well, just so he doesn't, you know, eat some more damage than he would like to afterwards. And gets himself into good positions. You know, it's not often that you can run behind the enemy team as a mid lane mage, but Chekio sniffed out the opportunity and, well, Snake Pit ate the dust for it.
Yeah, when you don't have purification beads against this composition, you're just asking for death, because all Draco Marine has to do is throw you into either Chekio or Warchi's ultimate, and you're dead. Because one, he throws you into Chekio's ult, you're just going to be stuck in the air for 12 years. You get thrown into Warchi's ultimate, you can't move, you're slowed down, and you're not going to enjoy what comes after that ultimate.
Yeah, just a big old damage and stun, maybe it could be a Mez instead. But Great Data is being aggressed on once more because his beats were forced. Hello? Did he get hit into that Riptide?
I think he clipped the Riptide right at the end of it is what it looked like.
Huh.
Strange. I don't think I've ever seen it. I've seen people throw them directly into a Riptide before, but I've never seen them on the launch of the Riptide get pushed back like that. That was very strange onto it. Pyromancer getting attacked by little Cupid Chekio's Warchi's rocking up his passive so he can make sure to get that stun off the Heart Bomb. Pyromancer leashed back and forth. Free walk up to the front along with Draco Marino. Mara will be dropped but not finding anything off of it.
Yeah, it's a new version of Smite Golf, where you had to use Shing Channels but to throw people into Janus portals on the floor. They just throw them into Riptides instead.
Man, that sounds like a really fun game now.
It is quite a fun game, and, you know, when Janus first came out, I think that was one of the first things I did.
Smite, but one of your teammates can't move without the assistance of other people.
Oh, God.
Like, you can only move with, you know, like Riptides, portals, leaps, things like that. You can't use your WASD key to move around. Can you imagine how insane that would be, and how crazy it would be if Snake Pit actually did manage to secure this Pyromancer. But Dazer takes a mez of a lifetime as he's stuck down for what felt like eternity. Up into the ultimate goes Creed. Gets a knock up onto Zeus, but you know, Dazer taking big damage, but the heal out of Dazer is enough to sustain them through. And everybody from Snake Pit manages to live through. Marcus barely finds a way out. The objective, the Pyromancer, does manage to go to Snake Pit.
Marcus ate almost all of his health there from Angry using that Monster ultimate over the wall. And that's going to mean he's going to have to go back to base. Back onto the fire gen. They did go. They had to leash up pretty much straight away as the Snake Pit boys did stick around. They put themselves back up into the lead here, 21 minutes into the game. But it's starting to creep to that point where you're having to worry about Marcus Scarly here again. I'm having to worry about Angry on with Distilla. Distilla's also one of the few mid-lane mages that can be considered, you know, this super strong late game, well, hyper late game mage, just because of the amount of damage that she does.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody out there has ever been hit by a 6-slot and they sold their boots, so now they have their true 6-slot Scylla Crush, but it's your health bar. That's the true ultimate, is Crush. Not I'm a monster. It's Crush that's the real ultimate out of Scylla.
Oh yeah, it is absolutely insane when you get it. Because, don't forget, when she's maxed those abilities, for each ability she maxes, she gains 25 extra magical power, plus the ability then does something additional. In terms of Crush, it provides 25% pen.
And then it goes boom, and so does your health bar.
Oh yeah.
Ban Scylla in your game, so you don't have to deal with that kind of nonsense. We're only 4...
have Scylla nausea.
Yeah, no, don't ever let them have that. We're level 19 so far on Angry with the Scylla and 4 items in, so these soon be maxing out their passive power, as well as all of their abilities, extra passives going through. Creed trying to zone Terram out as he's making a rotation towards his backside, setting up with a Fire Giant as Snake Pit. They don't really have a clean opening to it just yet.
No team really has a clean shot at doing this objective quite right now. If either team could sneak it, I would have to give the slight edge to the Pappies, just given the fact that they've got 3 very strong base attack base gods. One of which is Marcus on this Carly, who does have ability to the kin size. Draco Marino's looking for Angry in this mid lane. Not good to get the roots off. Does indeed. Out comes the I'm a Monster in response to that Whirl of the Raging Steel. Now Draco Marino's in a whirl of her, being chased down by the rest of the members of the Snake Pit. Down he goes. Meanwhile, in the meantime, Primal Fury goes the way of Pappies because Chekio is there by himself. Strange decision there by Draco Marino to go that aggressive.
Yeah, using both his leaps as well. I believe he threw his blink into that one as well. So he all in committed to get something out of Angry, and Angry just pressed forward, turned around, Dazer threw his ultimate down, and there was nowhere for this old Xing Chen to go. caught out in the middle of the Emoja and then hit by the Ama Monster. Ama Monster really didn't do too much because it went through the Pride Wind shield, but now Chekio's got to try and burn through Tarum with that Shield of Thorns going through, dashing right into the Fields of Love. Tarum at a quarter health. The Snake Pit managed to get the Fire Giant, but Creed is just rampaging in the backline on this Cthulhu. Warchi finds Dazer, who got left all alone and left out hung dry on the backside. Marcus has a backstep to get out of that crush. A nice little heal comes out of Creed to give Marcus a little bit of extra health. They get one, but they lose the Fire Giant.
Yeah, it just Warchi and Czechia weren't able to get into that Fire Giant to try and turn the tide of that engagement. They do pick up Dazer, as you said, but it's the Emoja support. You didn't take rid of the Arachne, you didn't get rid of the Fire Giant on the Jingwei. Most importantly, you didn't get rid of it on the Still.
Draco Marino just gonna push out that left side. Keep himself farmed up. The Pride Wind looking for his next item will be a Spectral Armor very early on to try and counteract against this Jingwei. Spudio's built into his second crit item, going to his third now with that Fail Not.
The Fail Not is just a lot of stats that you kind of do want to have on an ADC. Not more specifically, the percent pen that comes with it. Don't forget, when they changed up physical penetration in the mid-season, we got split onto some different items. Same thing happened to Mage at the beginning of Season 7. And one of the beneficiaries of that was this Fail Not.
Well, almost 6 slotted once he finishes that Fail Not. Warchi on the other side has picked up his Fail Not already in a Poison Star on top of that. So going for a little bit of different crit option earlier on compared to Spudio.
Yeah, I'm liking the Poison Star. I think it's a decent item, but as a Cupid, I kind of just think you kind of want to go for more of an ability burst damage build rather than going in for this auto attack based build.
Trying to defend the Phoenix now. Creed drops the Mire down and holds 2 in place as Dazer takes about a quarter of his health from the burst damage out of Chekio. Clear up the minions, and so no further aggression onto this right Phoenix will be had. Snake Pit still have 4 members with the Fire Giant for about another minute and a half before that buff fades away from them. They'll back away and grab the Pyromancer. Nothing more to be gained so far from them. They still have 3 more towers on the map, so I imagine that'll be their final targets before this buff fades.
I don't think they'll be able to get the final 3 towers down before the Fire Giant gets off. They'll probably get 2 of them. There'll be the 2 on the left-hand side if they group up and push those 2 down first. The only way to get all 3 is if I'd say they push down the mid tier 2 first, then rotate over to the left-hand side tier 1, tier 2, just because it may make the Poppies, second guess where they're defending.
Draco Marino going to rotate between the 2 lanes and end up back into the mid to clear out a couple of archers, a couple of stragglers that walk down to the lane. Everybody else on the map kind of sporadic and spread around, not really sure where they want to commit to. They got 2 pushing up onto the left side, and that would be Spudio and looks like Dazer alongside him. So they'll get that tier 1 tower on the left, and finally everybody else on Snake Pit has agreed as to where they want to go, and it's this left side. I'm not sure if the Poppies want to fully commit to defending this tier 2. The Fire Giant's still on them for about 40 seconds, so they can maybe hold here in this 5v5.
They could also, half elf Draco Marino and then
That
go
too.
into the tower. Just because Scylla can do that, still a thing.
Draco gonna get healed up a little bit by Warchi's Hearts. Tarum gonna tank up the tower. Over the wall goes Marcus because he took half of his health from War's Turtle. Fields of Love gets 4 players down onto the top side of it. Into the back goes Creed, diving onto the carry, thrown into the Sanctified Field. Spudio has nowhere to go. Warchi picks him up. And that's 1 down already on the side of Snake Pit, but Creed looking like he's gonna fall himself to Dazer, who gets him with the Moonblast. Marcus jumping over, but the stun is juked out by Worcester, who has a beautiful blink to get away from it. 1 for 1 for the Poppies.
And the Papis just, again, have this aura of almost invincibility about them. That's not a fight that really should have gone their way, but Draco Marino gets poked out to half health. Marcus jumps over the wall. Warchi, with a beautiful Fields of Love, separates the fight enough for them to be able to then go in and engage on their terms rather than on Snake Pit's terms. Don't forget, they had the Fire Giant. Fury respawns in just a second. Fire Giant in 32 seconds. And we could be looking at an even game here for this next Fire Giant.
And that's going to be the second Primal Fury for the Poppies as well. So they'll have 14% of that damage, bonus damage and bonus damage mitigation against the jungle. That includes that Fire Giant. So with the potential of the enhanced fire giant to be the next target for them to fight for, Poppies have a big advantage going in this next fight.
I think they have more than just a big advantage. I think they have a huge advantage. I mean, Marcus is now pretty much bang on line for where Carly should be at this stage of the game. Just one more item to get, and then selling the boots for the final 6th item. So kid size online. You got your Crusher, you got your Haste Katana, you got your Magi's Blessing as well. And that's the big thing. No longer gets, really interrupted when trying to chase down gods like the Scylla or the Jingwei. It's just the Jingwei's safety that's going to prove a thorn in the side for Marcus if he does decide to go in. But on the flip side of it, Draco Marino is now at the point where he can engage safely and not really have to worry about him dying as quick as he was before.
You got a little bit more health and defenses online as the Xing Chen, now level 16 versus Dacer's level 17. So the only two not level 20, but that's typical of the supports at this stage of the game, as they're not very likely going to hit that level 20 mark anytime soon. Terem gets hit by the hook slam out of Draco Marino, and that'll force him to dash back to the safety of the team. And Dazer will heal him up a little bit with that Umoja, just to make sure that he can stay healthy for the next fight.
I think the next fight's going to be over the Pyromancer rather than this Fire Giant, and I have to say I kind of do fancy Snake Pit to just take the fight because of the fact that they can poke Poppies down more reliably than Poppies can poke back.
I mean, they got a Scylla. That's what better poke could you imagine than a giant circle, aka Crush, hitting everybody for 900 damage.
And it's also a lot like they have a shoulder to target, which are quite easy to hit, given that they have Draco Marino on the Shin Chen, but more importantly, Icreed on the Cthulhu. He is very big. One of the downsides to being big is you are very easy to hit.
Fire Giant started up. Chekio is the only one on top of it right now. It's down to half health. Creed is doing his best that he can to continue the zoning, but Chekio gets knocked up by the Fire Giant. That's the call to get off of it immediately. River's Rebuke goes down to the back, but Creed manages to find a hole through. Terem at half health. He's going to get thrown into the back by Whirlwind of Rage and Steel, and dropped by Warchi as the first victim of the fight. Into the back line goes Creed, angry, trying to find something, but Worst Turtle, as soon as he shows his face, is immediately sent back to the fountain. Double kill for Warchi.
He just goes over a ward and then instantly gets blasted by the freight train that is the Papis. So hold up this now put themselves ahead of the kill problem when they were behind. And now looks like they're going to get this hand fire chance for themselves. Just over 30 minutes into the game, they're going to run into this tower as well. Marcus on the backside. Who's he looking for? Looking for Angry. I believe that means Angry is going to be the mark of choice here for Marcus. Tier 2 tower on the right side falls. Going to try to run the squad. They're going to walk right in and take this Phoenix.
The bubble will be dropped as well as the Crush, so that's their clear and poke down. And with that enhanced Fire Giant, they do not care about the backdoor protections. The Riptide is barely going to save Dazer's life for the time. Ultimate jump through another Riptide just to get him away from the damage of Warchi even further. Great use of those Riptides out of Dazer. Keeps himself alive. They lose that right side Phoenix very quickly.
And it's just a shame that they can, use the Riptide to try and save the Phoenix. That would kind of be broken. But, they did their best they could there to defend on that Phoenix. The unstoppable juggernaut that is the Poppies just continue their impressive form. And looks like continuing their march up to second place with this game 1 performance. There is 3 games in this set. Or could be 2 if the Poppies do end up taking this one and game number 2. So they can still turn this around. They still have time as well.
Chekio. He's gonna get the red buff for himself one more time. 6 slotted now. Still has to sell the boots, but I'll look for a Mantle of Discord for his last item in the build at the moment. Not only him, but Draco Marino and Icreed have also all opted for this item. Mantle of Discord is around all 3 of them.
So it's a really powerful item just because it gives you 60 protections, 10% CDR, and also gives you that CC immunity when you're quite low. It doesn't help against Angry, because Angry's going to kill you before that CC immunity will proc. But it just means that Arachne, the worst turtle in this, Arachne is not going to have the opportunity to burst you down 100-0 with it. And that's the big worry here for Chekio, is the fact that if he gets isolated against the Arachne, he has a chance to lose that fight. But with this Mantle of Discord, not so much anymore.
Holding up this left side is Draco Marino as he's clearing the minions to carve their way for another path to another potential Phoenix. Oni Fury set to respawn. You can see all 3 of them just spamming basic attacks until it spawns in, hoping to be the first one to get the damage onto it. Who's going to be? It looks like it goes to Warchi. Congratulations, you get Oni Fury for all of 3 seconds, and now it's gone.
Yeah, what an incredible lifespan that Oni Fury had. Just spawns into the world, immediately hunted down for its loot, and unfortunately has to give up its powers to some minions running down mid lanes, running down left lanes, running down right lanes.
And fire Oni minions running down the right lane, to be very clear onto that one. They're going to have to send somebody to defend, or that Titan is going to take some excruciating poke moving forward. Marcus takes a little bit of poke himself. Worst Turtle takes about half of his health from the fight. Draco Marino takes a little bit of damage himself, taking up that Phoenix. They gotta wait for the next minion wave to come through before they can push in. Worst Turtle forced all the way back, and that mid lane Phoenix got about a quarter health because Marcus and Warchi teamed up in that last little skirmish for it. Four ones.
Over to the left-hand side, though, and just trying to take down this left-hand side Phoenix instead, leaves Marcus alone with Worst Turtle. Angry rotates to help the mid lane Phoenix. And they've given the pings correctly because, like you said, fire Oni wave pushing up on the right hand side, joining in that fire wave, which is just met up on just outside the Phoenix.
Draco Marino gets poked out by Angry. A little bit of his health bar taken down from that one low crush. Moving in, Creed gonna drop the Mire on a Spudio, puts him about a quarter health. The River's Rebuke is dropped down, but Dazer is forced out as he's at half health. Creed's gonna get the heal onto the rest of them. For the left side, Phoenix has dropped. Marcus at a quarter health. He's forced to walk away. Because Sustain coming out of the Poppies is keeping Marcus and Creed alive, as well as the Fire Giant. The left side burnt down, mid one falls as well, so all 3 Phoenixes down. Right one set to respawn in just a moment. Draco Marino grabs one, but Dazer manages to get back out yet again out of the clutches of the Xingqian.
So it seems that if you are knocked up by the Riptide, if you get picked up whilst you're still in the air by Draco Marino's Xingqian, then you will just, basically act as if you have Terra Massive, just not get thrown.
Titan taking a little bit of damage here for the side of Snake Pits, but they'll clear out the minions. Just regular minions for now. Fire minions pushing up onto the right side. Those the other 2 lanes now finally have their first wave of fire minions pushing in. Fire Giant set to respawn here in about 15 seconds. That'll be the eye of target for the Poppies here. The Snake Pit are forced to defend. They really don't have much of an option to try and fight up against this Fire Giant.
No, they have to either surrender a lot of damage onto their Titan or surrender the Fire Giant. I don't know which one's worse. It's the best spot to be in if you're the Pappies because you force them into a lose-lose situation. I mean, the only opportunity which Snake Pit really have to...
Checkio. Checkio. Taking down half health, forces out the Infinite Web out of Worst Turtle. A full rotation from the Poppies. This could be their best bet. Checkio's gonna get stunned down. He doesn't have his beat towards Zegas. He's taken down by Spudio because of the walls that came out from Dazer. Fields of Love are good on the 2. I'm a Monster doesn't do anything from Angry on the backhand side. Marcus down, a 3rd health. He's forced back. Meanwhile, Warchi is going as far away as he can for the time being, unable to make his rotation back. Is he just going to split push this Phoenix?
I think that's the only thing he really can do at this point, is just try and get the Phoenix down, and he's going to get caught out. He's going to get spotted. Does he get the Phoenix in time?
I mean, it's a 3v5 defense here. The Myers drop through a 5-man hook slam out of Draco Marino. May have just saved this potential Phoenix. Marcus used the destruction, but he has to leap away immediately. Tarum can't find him with the mirror shot, so it's just Creed and Draco Marino to defend. Warchi backs because he can't get that Phoenix in time. A great defense out of Draco Marino. That one hook slam saved that Phoenix.
Then Marcus blinks in. 5-man stun there with the incense, but Draco Marino is now trapped in the wall, trapped in the river. I was just to throw Dazer away. The rest of the team goes through that rip and get back to them, but just brings a heart bomb stun to everybody, and Dazer get melted.
In the Fields of Love, he will fall. Marcus gets the credit for the kill with the last hit onto it, but the minions are pushing down left lane and getting into that throne room. Titan already taking a hefty chunk of damage, down under 6,000 already. Look how many archers made their way through. Titan down to almost half health just from that one fight for the Poppies holding them.
Now, part of that had to defend on their base. Half health is the Titan. And that's just going to be it. That's the Fire Giant taken down.
An extremely risky play by the Snake Pit, trying to push up that mid Phoenix. I like the idea of the 5v3, but when you're up against two juggernauts like a Cthulhu and a Xing Chen, it's so hard to push in. Left and mid Phoenix set to respawn very shortly. The eyes target for the Poppies is this right side bird into the back line. Goes Creed right onto the carries. That forces Angry to use that ultimate immediately. Creed aggroing the Titan, and the rest of the team will follow suit. Chekio drops down the Sanctified Field, and the Titan will fall. Tarim grabs one, but not before the Poppies clean up game number 1.
Yeah, it was a good start there from the Snake Pit, but over in the end, it's just going to be, business as usual. It's going to be the Poppies doing what they can. It's going to be the Poppies just winning the game.
We went for, 12 minutes almost without a first blood in that game, and then we end out with the Poppies coming up with the victory for them. And really what I feel it came down to was just they never got online with this Arachne. They had this really great idea of a start, but they couldn't make anything of it, and it just allowed Marcus to free farm up to late game as a Kali.
Yeah, the game lasted about 40 minutes. You're going into a game against a Kali. You don't want the game to last 40 minutes. You want it to last around 20, 25, 30 at a push. But the Fire Giant fights and the turnaround from the Papis was absolutely crucial. It just came down to one fight in particular where Warchi spread out the Snake Pit with his Field to Love ultimate on the tier 2 tower on the left-hand side. That gave enough time for the rest of the members of Pappies to get into that fight and get the W there. And at that point, the Pappies took full control of the game.
I mean, it's not often that as a Cupid you can hit 4 people with your ultimate, even 20 plus minutes into the game. Typically, the relics and everything else to be expended to get out of there, but he gets 4 of them locked down to set up for the rest of his team through a huge play by Warchi into it. And then obviously at the very end, the last push where Creed just said, guys, Phoenixes are down. Let's just push in and win the game. When we have a Cthulhu, we have an Olaran. Let's just win.
What if we just, killed the Titan instead of them some more? How about that? Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Also stops everybody else dying in the backside to the Arachne, which is finally able to do that sort of thing. Overall, it was a good game from both sides. Good pluses, good drawbacks, things to take away for both teams. And improvements needed on both sides, I feel.
Yeah, and they'll look to work on those improvements as we get ready to go into a quick little break before the second game of the set. Poppy's up 1-0 to Snake Pit. Can Snake Pit bring it back, or Poppy's going to close this out 2-0? Stick around. We'll be back with the action in just a few.
ocean waves and try to come to life. Don't let go of the bright blue sky because the future's looking far too light. Are you ready for a long dive? Ship to set sail and carry me through the starry night. Dream of me whenever you are feeling oh so low.
Welcome back to game number 2 between the Poppies and Snake Pit for the European Challenger Circuit. J Mac Tucker with Alpha Jackal once again. Bringing the action. Poppies kind of held it a little slow in the first start of the last game, and then right at the end just kind of exploded.
Yeah, the age-old adage of you cannot count the Pappies out holds true once more as they find themselves with a win when they were behind for most of the game against the Snake Pit. There's things to work on there for the Pappies, i.e. not falling behind in the early game. And then for the Snake Pit, it's can we close out before we let the Pappies get their one team fight that they always seem to win.
I mean, but to be fair, that's kind of just the Poppy style. It's just play it back. Might lose a couple thousand gold in the early game, but once their first big team fight hits, we just take over at that point. One of the few exceptions to the Poppy playstyle that I've seen was last week against Donkey Hoop, and that was a whole other story on its own. I'd like to see that kind of Poppies come out to play again, but I don't think that's happening in the Snake Pit.
Like I said, I don't think that's happening against Snake Pit. It's just too much of an ask to happen against a team as veteran as they are. And who knows, the differences could be here in game number 2, It's just about adjustment at this point. Both of those teams have stuff to adjust to. Like we did say, Pappies have to adjust in their early games, the Snake Pit have to adjust in their late game. What changes do they make here? I imagine the bans are going to be the same, though.
I'd like to not see a set ban, just to start it out. I mean, I guess if you're going to do a throwaway ban, sure, do a throwaway and a set ban. It doesn't really matter, I guess, at this point in the game. I don't think any team's caring about set.
I mean, you could ban it as a throwaway ban.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
There it is.
They did it to spite me this time.
They heard you. They were like, should we ban set? No, I kind of don't want to ban set over here. They ban set, blah, blah. Okay, we're banning set now. Let's go.
Yeah, what's that? I heard ban set. All right, set's off the table. No worries. Got you. No problem. Another thing they have to worry about, no problems, is the Morrigan as the Snake Pit take that goddess away, as well as a follow-up Merlin. Looks like we're just seeing a repeat of these first bans.
Yeah, can we get confirmation, Chittins, that this isn't a rerun from game number 1? He haven't put the wrong vote on. Okay, we've just confirmed that this is game 2. This is the live different set of picks and bans. So, just a good old fashioned salty run back here from both teams potentially.
Well, Persephone as well. Yamoja banned away this time, so it is different. We are on a different game, so that's been confirmed with just this one ban alone. But are the Snake Pit going to allow Cthulhu through, or are they going to give Draco Marino the Ganesh?
I mean, the Cthulhu didn't really do too much in the last game. It wasn't, a massive issue until the absolute late game when he was able to run around in the team fights without dying as quickly as he probably could have done. So it kind of makes sense that Cthulhu was banned. It also would have made sense to me if they also let it through and let Pappies play it again, because they did play well against it.
And not only that, if you would have just let that through and maybe even leave the Ganesh open, it kind of forces a choice. Do you want to give Draco his best god in the Ganesh, or do you want to have them take the Cthulhu? Instead, they're going to take Sobek first time through here for the Poppies.
Okay, Sobek. Flex pick potential here for the Poppies. Could go into the solo lane, could go into support. It sort of feels like it would be more of a Draco Marino pick here for the Poppies, so I'm hesitant on it saying it's going to go solo lane, but we know it probably will end up being a solo lane Sobek.
Probably. Most likely. We don't see too many support Sobeks anymore, and Snake Pit, they're going to grab Xing Qian to take that one away. And for all reason, too. Xing Qian was such a nuisance for them last game, despite the couple of questionable mistakes that were made, jumping into 5 people all alone. Outside of that, though, Xing Qian is such a powerful pick. So I'm glad the Snake Pits are grabbing that one and adapting to the strategies the Poppies have been making.
It's a good all-round early game strategy. They didn't have the emoji. I imagine if the emoji was still on the table, they would have picked it up. Jing Wei going to be this choice. And the instant lock-in of the Kali here from the Pappies. It worked out okay for them in game number 1. I'm hoping that it's going to work out better for them here. Or was it? Was that a figment of our imaginations?
We've been confirmed by production. It was Kali Cupid. He's just Jithens just likes to mess with us, keep us on our toes every so often, make sure we are paying attention. It's okay. We see you, Jithens. We see you.
I thought it was just getting, you know, the good old mirages you get when you're tired. You know, when you've been up for several hours too much.
When you've been wandering the desert for 7 hours and haven't had a drink of water, and you thought you saw the oasis, but instead it was just another 7-Eleven. There was nothing left in stock. The worst.
Back to the desert I go.
Back to the cruel mistress of the desert, and no Ganesh available for the Poppies as they ban it away. As Snake Pit bans this away in the second phase. I'm surprised we actually got to see it all the way to the second phase with the Cupid Kali locked in for Poppies and Ola Run to round out Snake Pit's first round. Nike banned away, and I'm hitting another question mark. Was this another throwaway ban?
No, Nike is probably one of the best picks up against the Kali because you're not going to get Sunder as the Kali. You're not really going to eat through the shield that quickly, and once more, the disarm as well as the barrier formation can really stifle the Kali's ability to get that chainsaw going in these team fights. So I really do like the ban coming out there for the Pappies. Bakasura going to be the choice of jungler here for the Snake Pit, though, going to spell a bit of trouble in the early game once more.
Well, it's going to be the Soul this time around for the Poppies to round out. Instead of having an Ola Run Cupid, now they have a Soul Cupid and a Fafnir to finish out the draft. So it will be the solo Beck with a support Fafnir this time around. How will Snake Pit answer? They still need their final tanky god, and it will be the Kukulin to round out the draft for the solo lane.
I'm really liking both of these drafts yet again. I mean, the Pappies got what they wanted from the last game in the Fafnir. They elected to hide the third basic attack god this time rather than picking it up early on. So the Fafnir was not banned. And they, you know, it synergizes quite well, obviously. The Snake Pits draft, good mix of early game and late game. But once more, angry on this mid lane Ola Run. How's it going to fare into the Cupid? That's my big question mark out of their draft.
Yeah, very curious onto that one. And not only that, Chekio did manage to pick the Cupid up for himself this time, much like we saw in the first set of the day before SPL. Chekio back on his Pentacupid. We'll see if he can pull himself off another one in this game.
Hey, it's going to be a bit more difficult for him to pull it off into this game. I mean, he's going up against an Ola Run. Both of them, I honestly feel like this matchup should go the way of Angry on the Ola Run because of the ultimate trade out, but the ultimate cooldown could also mean that it is one of those fights that can go one way one time and then one way the other.
Drake Marino's going to run for it, and it looks like he'll grab that Spirit Minion for himself. He's got his hammer level 1. I imagine it'll be the elite level 2 for him. Got to get that initiation, that push in for him. Chekio will just clear on his own here up against the Ola Run. Rather similar levels of clear. I'd say a little bit maybe more in favor of the Ola Run early on just because he hit all 6 minions. But for a red buff invade here on the Poppies, Angry and Dazer push up. It's Warchi and Draco Marino stun onto Angry. That's going to force the orbs out. Red buff is taking quite a bit of poke, but Dazer's taking even more. He will use that Hand of the Gods to secure it. A good patience out of the support. Make sure they secure that buff for the mid lane.
Also, just wait until he sees that the minion is at that health range thanks to the most recent update to the minion health bars. You can actually see the number of the health. You can see above that Alpha Halfy 780. One of the big updates they've done recently, and you know it's taken a while, but I'm glad it's here.
Warchi has the beads very early out of a blink hook slam out of Dazer. Now they know that relic is on cooldown, and Warchi is in a little bit more danger. Will have to use the Saporate if he wants to get out in safety anytime in these next fights.
Oh, it's just going to be aggression, and more aggression here for Pappies. It's one of the best things to do when you don't have beads is run and fight them, obviously, rather than play safe. But they're going to be forcing Spuddy and Data back under tower, and I think that's just going to be where Spuddy is going to live for the most part of this game. Very difficult to fight into a Solar into this early portion. Then once Soul's got that Ring of Akate online, it's going to be pretty much impossible.
Yep, kind of the unfortunate part of dealing with the Mage ADCs at this point in the meta right now is that Ring of Akate is just so potent for them. And once they get, Typhon's Fang online, just forget about ever trying to box one of them at that stage. You're never going to out-sustain them. You're going to have to get the luckiest, 6 crits of your life to make sure that they go down.
Or you can get Shadow Steel, Shuriken, and reduce their healing.
Look, man, don't be revealing strategies to people out here, okay? We're supposed to keep that on the down low. That way nobody takes that strat away from us, man.
I mean, no one, even if I do mention it, no one's going to pick up Shadow Steel Shuriken because people think it's a bad item when it actually isn't.
Okay, you got a fair point on that one. The stun by Marcus to keep the blue buff from being stolen away. Catches it right off of the blink on Worst Turtle. I wouldn't even say that was really good timing. I'd say that was unfortunate timing for Worst Turtle.
I'd say that was, because he tries to hit him in twice, gets interrupted twice. First by the stun from Marcus, second by the tail whip from Creed. So, yeah, that would be unfortunate for Worst Turtle. Unless they're playing on, like, 0 ping, in which case I think you could then say that's good play by the Pappies.
Marcus will get those mid camps down. Getting close to that level 5. Chekio back into the mid lane with the Cupid, as we said earlier on. Cupid last game in the hands of Warchi, but Chekio, he had to scratch that itch of his own and said, well, I played Cupid earlier. I mean, it's only fair I get to play it again.
And I don't blame him, given that he, again, like you said, got that pentakill, lets them, defend the Titan from a game where they were behind. It was the one fight that they won in the entire game, and it's the one fight they needed to win that game 2-0.
So it's just another Poppies game.
Exactly, it's the Pappies passive kicking into play at the last possible second.
I swear the Poppies are just an anime shonen at this point. Like, they are the main protagonists of their own shonen. It's ridiculous how many times do you see this team, and it's not like they're a bad team by any stretch of the imagination. Being the number 2 team consistently just means that they still have room to improve, but they keep improving every single split. First time around, it was, oh, well, we almost took a game off the number 1 seed. Then it was, we took a game off the number 1 seed. Now it's, we took a set off the number 1 seed. This time around, maybe we'll see the Poppies take the whole thing.
So that means Belt Slap are the main antagonist of the
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, I buy it. I like to see that. Can somebody get on to animating that, please? I want to see that, like, actually. That's a show.
Yeah, a SMITE esports anime. I'm down for this one. I'd actually be very interested to watch something like that.
I'll be as well. And Creed doesn't want to be seeing Dazer running at him in the jungle, as Angry could be forced to use his beats out early, because Chekio puts him under a bit of pressure there. Doesn't use that Sanctified Field, though, so still has that available to him in that fight.
Creed gonna lose that blue buff, though. It's like Tarum was able to steal that away. So Creed will be without his mana sustain. Now, he does have his ultimate for a little bit of extra, if need be. We won't be able to continuously box like he would want to. But Marino and Mark is gonna walk up and try and steal a blue buff away this time. Worst Turtle gonna be successful in securing their buff alongside Tarum, but now Worst Turtle has to jump away in the Sanctified Field out of Angry. Whirlwind of Rage and Steel is gonna keep Draco Marino in the sky for what feels like eternity. Dazer gonna fall down to Creed, although Chekio's Heart Bomb would have secured the deal one way or another. They traded as a 1-for-1, making a 2-for-1 as Worst Turtle finds Marcus looking for Creed, but Worst Turtle gonna smartly walk away from that one.
Yeah, 2-for-1. Good play by Snake Pit as they get more than just the invade that they had previously. They win that fight. They get the first blood. They do lose their support in trade, but I think Dazer's fine with that.
You can see the blue buff gets secured away there. Worst Turtle has to leave. He does have the poison applied to him. That destruction passive or ultimate was onto the Kali to make sure to get away. Worst Turtle didn't leave. He's still stuck around to make sure he can grab anything he could. Sees that Marcus was caught lazy packing by the totem and gets him with the takedown damage alone. It's a great heads-up play by Worst Turtle.
Yeah, just to realize that the thrown daggers there from Marcus meant that he was still around, still quite low health, and the opportunity to just run in and get that kill for himself. Tier 1 tower melee put under a bit of pressure. Angry's going to be just clearing that wave up. I mean, it's not going to take too much damage. Poppies find themselves behind during the early game once more, but we know what happened last time they found themselves behind in the early game. That was last game, and they won it.
All the supports are gonna spot each other in the jungle and throw a couple of basics at each other. You know, one simple dwarf dragon man and a hammer, and a man with a face for a chest and a giant axe. I mean, how much crazier of a story can you get with those two throwing basics at each other?
It's just trading out as much as they can. I mean, you have two lanes where it's basic attack is just trading out basic attacks with each other. Mid lane's gonna have a bit more visitation from supports, from junglers, maybe from solo laners. Meanwhile, the ADC position, the dual lanes sort of been left on their own little island.
So for those who have been out for some time watching competitive Smite, AJ, what was it that brought Cupid of all gods coming back through? Where we never see him, it's almost always a joke pick. But we've been seeing so much Cupid recently.
His ultimate. There you go. That's it's just the amount of pressure that he can provide with his heart bomb and kills a love combination. It's a massive amount of damage, and it really forces you to play back. So once Cupid hits level 5, it's a good amount of pressure. The attack speed stim that he gets just passively from leveling up his dash is quite nice. All round, he is quite a strong pick. It's just taken a long time for people to realize how potent he can be because they were reliant on these mage ADCs beforehand. Now, with them being scaled back a bit more, Cupid has had this time to breathe as a good counter pick too.
Draco Marino gonna stand by. A very aggressive dash in by Chekio. We'll get the Mez onto Angry from the ultimate, but Chekio takes way more than he bargained for in damage. He'll have to pick up 2 of his own hearts in order to sustain back up.
Oh, he doesn't even pick up the rep off because
And
he went
sad day.
That's what he gets for really dashing that aggressively.
No red buff for you. Come back in 1 year.
What he did? He's one time these days.
It feels like a year, man. When you miss a buff, it feels like a year before you can get that buff back.
Okay, I'll get that to you. It's been about several years since he's had a blue buff, and I don't think they really want to let him get any sort of breathing room whatsoever. So down he goes. No, he's actually going to go out of the waters early to get that charge spray off. Good play by him, and good underhand tactics by Draco Marino means that that Westuttle was disarmed for a couple of seconds.
Shell coming in big to keep Creed alive there. Great heads up by Draco Marino to keep his solo laner. Warchi and Spudio having a bit of a boxing match in the dual lane, but as you can see, Warchi has Ring of Hecate, and Spudio can't buy that item, so you know about how well those trades are going to go out.
Well, the trade's almost always going to go the way of Warchi on the solo when he's up against Spudio on Jingwei. Thanks to that Ring of Hecate, means he's going to sustain it quite well. Also, that Disapparate means that it's very difficult for anybody to come over here and gank onto the Soul. Bakasura goes up into his regurgitated base attack form, and, well, you can't hit Soul for about 5 seconds because how long Soul is in that incorporeal form for.
Chekio, Marcus, and Draco teaming up in the mid lane. 2 will take down the right side Harpies, and Draco Marino will edge towards the left side. Look to cut off the path of Dazer. Misses the hammer. Just off the mark on his dab. The ultimate out of Chekio, very questionable on Dazer. The heart bomb will connect, but Dazer is more than fine as he'll be able to leap right back to safety and forces him back to base.
That was a good idea for Dazer to pick up these tank boots, 3 and 4 creeps, just to give himself some extra protections. Means that he doesn't take as much damage as he would have done there. He still would have had to go back to base, but I think if he had something like power boots, the cooldown boots, there would have been more of a chase on that for Pappies.
Watching now level 12. A little on mana, but Marcus here gonna stun out the dash and forces the airstrike out of Spudio as well as the purification beads. But Warchi is going in, needs a couple more shots for the ult, but it's not gonna be enough. Expending quite a lot. But most importantly, they got the relic. They got those purification beats off of Spudio.
That's going to come right back around and look to gank him once again. You see, just the power of Ring of Hecate there. Warchi healing up quite a fair bit. Once he gets that Typhon tank online as well, it's going to be ridiculous.
Chekio juking out the shot from Angry. That was mostly just to clear the minion wave, but nice little backstab keeps him from taking the damage. And we'll go out and clear out a full shrine and give himself a bunch of extra global gold to his team.
The shrine efficiency is where it's at these days, as we did discuss before. Like it is going to be just a bit more there. As Chekio tries to contest underneath hit Harpies, but it's worth Turtle has opened up a slight lead over Marcus now. We didn't see that in the last game with the Arachne, but the Bakasura just more of an instantaneous farmer has been just a slight bit more, able, a slight bit more efficient in this jungling path here for Western.
Yeah, it's kind of a one. He's got the leap to get over the walls, but he's also just got eat minion to basically execute a minion. So for him, he will have a little bit faster clear, and you can see Marcus is struggling to keep up just a little bit. A full item down the worst turtle at the moment. It hasn't gone back to base in a little while, so I'll imagine he'll be able to pick up some of his items here very shortly. Draco Marino looking around this red buff. He'll be spotted out by Dazer and Angry. Hammer onto Dazer. The hook slam and return onto Draco Marino. A little bit of damage out of Warchi. Puts Dazer at about quarter health. They're just setting up for these Oracle Harpies. See if they can at least get one of them, and they will trade them out 1-1. So no vision control for either team.
Yeah, Vision's gonna have to just go down to good old regular warding, which so far belongs to the Snake Pit with that Sentry Ward on that Gold Fury. Rep-Up gets dropped again, and Chekio's not going to want to miss out on this one, so right away he's going to go over towards the Rep-Up rather than dashing it aggressively. Worst Turtle once again looking for the blue buff, but finally Creed secures his own buff. The Worst Turtle's not happy about that. He wants to just try and get the kill here. Dazer to be aggressive onto Warchi, though, and it's going to start a fight on the left-hand side of Gold Fury.
Sanctified Fields drops, and that's the call for Angry to get out. The Supernova out of Warchi. He's going to force everybody back, but Warchi's down very low in health. Tanking up this Gold Fury, probably not the wisest idea out of Soul. He'll heal up onto that Alpha Harpy camp, leaping into the back as Draco as he tries to get away from Tarum and Dazer. He's going to get a little bit of damage onto him. That forced out the Draconic Transformation out of Draco. It's a big stun onto Tarum, but that's a transformation out of the Cocola, and he'll be able to continue to zone this back line. While Marcus trying to make a warpath back in as Warchi is getting burned down by Worst Turtle, who gets his own ultimate alpha. Marcus hits him with the destruction to finish the deal. Gold Fury does manage to fall to the Snake Pit, but not before they lose one.
It's a 1-for-0 trade, but the Gold Fury is the big pride that they can open up more of a lead once again. 2,500 gold, 2,000 experience in the lead. Pyromancer could be looked at here as an answer for the Pappies. The mid-tier 2, the mid-tier 1, sorry. Looks like it could be the call instead. No, just get some farm, go over towards this Pyromancer, and try and take on this objective and, you know, get something going for the Pappies in this game so they don't have to wait for a mistake from the Snake Pit to get back into it like they did in game 1.
Well, Marcus gonna get the last mid-camp right side Harpy to put that one on a timer, and the Poppies will get the Pyromancer as a consolation prize. They got one kill earlier, might as well pick up an extra small objective for them. Back into the lane, Creed will go just to farm himself back up. I mean, keep himself relative into the game as he's a little bit behind Creed. Everybody on the Poppies a little bit behind right now. The only ones, the dual lanes, keeping relative par with them. Everybody else about a level down.
So Tarum is going to get plucked back, stop his back. Did I Creed? Marcus looking for rescue. Once this blue buff once again, which is coming in for it. It's Worst Turtle here on time as always. Dazer just trying to get more beef here because blue buff was stolen back by iCreed last time. They don't want that to happen again. Meanwhile, Draco Marino finding his own little fight against Angry in the jungle near mid lane. Mid-tier 1 being looked up by Chekio, but rotations from behind, and I think this could spell disaster here for the mid laner.
Chekio gonna have to use his purification beads to get out of the field from the Bakasura. Chekio gets burst before he even gets his own ultimate going anywhere. Draco Marino has to use the shell to get out, and Creed and the lurking in the waters just for his own form of sustain and safety. Warchi rotates through very aggressively, but luckily has the Saprate going so he can sustain through it. Supernova dropped onto the minions, and that's really about all the damage that it'll hit onto it. As Dazer now to half health, and Marcus chasing him down. Hit by the host sign, and we rooted into place, and Tarum is retransformed back into his destructive form onto it. But he's taking quite a lot of damage, and the Thorns are protecting him from those tower shots.
The mid-tier 1 fell, mid-tier 2 still standing. Fire Giant could be the call here from the Snake, but it's a retreat over onto that right-hand side. But it is only 16.5 minutes into the game. I don't think they're wanting to go that aggressive and that risky for this game, considering they went slight risky in the last one and lost because of it. They want to try and make this one almost as clear-cut and perfect as possible.
They got 3 pushing up mid lane. Only Worst Turtle would be here to defend it for the time. Dazer making his own rotation. Tower's very low. I don't imagine they'll fully commit to it. They'll just let the minions go through and maybe throw a basic if they need to, but Chekio wisely not going to walk into the tower line. Just going to let the minions do their own thing and let Snake Pit hold that one down.
Yeah, mid-tier 1 still standing for the Snake Pit, just barely though. I believe that Pappies will be wanting to get that as the next mini objective before the Gold Fury and the Pyromancer do respawn in the 1.5 minutes time. But it's been good so far for Snake Pit, especially in terms of the mid lane. Chekio on this Cupid has been effective at poking, effective at aggressing in the early game, but didn't get much from it. Didn't even get a kill for it. Just in one of these fights. And the rest of the time, it's been plain sailing for the Snake Pit. The Chekio's then been forced out from all of these fights, not been as effective as he can be.
Warchi gets into the separate, so the hook slam's not going to do enough. The Furious Roar a little early, and the ultimate out of Warchi will immune the Whirlwind of Rage and Steel, so no Relic needed to be used for Warchi to get out of there. So Heaven speeds for the next fight. Chekio drops the ult on top of Angry, does a huge chunk of damage to him, but Angry with lifesteal will be back to full like nothing ever happened.
Oh, sorry, what damage?
Yes. Yes.
Sustain.
And anti-heal. We'll bring that topic back up because I feel like it's still a necessary topic. Need to see it up in here because you do have sustain out of the Bakasura through his Eat Minion as well as the major sustain, especially that Angry has just with Ring of Akate and Typhons.
I'm thinking we're going to see a Toxic Blade at some point. Either from Warchi, I imagine Marcus can go into one as well. He can also go into a Brawlers to apply 80% just himself. Because if Angry drops that Sanctified Field, he's probably going to be able to out-sustain a Carly trying to chainsaw him. So that's not something he gets to see every day.
Chekio going to clear out the mid lane. Go back to joining the rest of his team as the Primal Fury is available. Not gonna hard commit to it just yet. See what they can poke out. Dazer takes a hammer from Draco Marino. The Primal Fury started up by Snake Pit. Nobody else really up here. Draco Marino tries to leap into the end because he's way too late on the lead. Takes about half his health on landing, and Snake Pit get another Fury to their name, the second one of the game. The Snake Pit.
Yeah, it was just stolen from under the nose of the Poppies. They knew it was going down, but they just couldn't rotate and defend it in time. You can see from those graphs, 4,000 experience, just shy of 4,000 gold as well. They're starting to open up this lead, starting to creep further and further ahead. But is it going to happen fast enough for them? Tier 1 towers still stand in left and right. Tier 2s across the board. Phoenix is untouched as well. It's going to take them another 5-10 minutes before they're even able to touch the Titan here.
And that's even if they get to the Titan in the 5 to 10 minutes. I mean, these two teams are notorious for it taking a little bit longer to come online, a little bit longer to really step on the gas pedal. I mean, the last game was, what, 35, almost 40 minutes before we even saw them get to the Titan room.
Yeah, and that was painful. Especially considering that Snake Pit did, they had the opportunities to go into and try and pick out the Phoenixes. They weren't quite able to do so. Papis returned the favor quite easily, and it would just it's a difficult loss to take, I'd say, for the Snake Pit, but they bounced back quite well here in the second game. That they've got themselves up into a similar position, but they've not let the fact that they lost the game one get there. They've just knuckled down and just fixed some of the mistakes which happened and just started to secure more of these objectives early on.
If there's one thing the Snake Pit is good at, it's these objective sneaks more than anything else. It's, oh, hey, you guys are here. Yeah, we're gonna push you back. All right, guys. Yeah, we're not doing this Gold Fury. Hey, guys, do the Gold Fury real quick. Make them think that we're not doing it. Oh, hey, there's a Pyromancer over here. No, we're not doing this. Guys, take the Pyromancer. I mean, it's just how it feels with the Snake Pit every time. It's bait them into thinking you're doing it. They see you're not. They're like, okay, cool. Nobody's touching this objective, and then Snake Pit just grab it from under their noses. And Worst Turtle being a little bit of a handling here by Marcus takes him down to half health very quickly.
Looks like we do have our first bit of anti-heal online for the Poppies. This Toxic Blade, like I said, it was, but not on the person who I was going to be thinking it was. Chekio. I don't think Cupid going to be the person built in anti-healing on it too. Angry, he's going to eat half his health in damage. But here comes the blink from the total laner and for the support. Misdone there from both of them. 60 chain overlap then. That means one good ability usage from both Chekio and Marcus gets him out of good engages on two ends.
Only two ultimates left online for Snake Pit, and the most important one being Angry's ultimate. Marcus still has his, Draco and Warchi both as well, so Draco could easily pop into that dragon form give a massive coerce buff to this team, and that fire giant stands no chance. And not only that, no one on the enemy team really stands a chance when you have a three-man coerce onto these damage dealers.
It's going to be started up here. You can see on the top left of your screen goes down about 9,000 now. With Warchi just sitting on it by himself. Power soul back down to 7,000 health now. Just healing from Cupid, doing what he can to try and get this. To keep Warchi just attacking this objective. Now they're finally using shit. The back throw makes his way into the backside.
That Furious Roar came in huge, but Ward's Turtles ultimate onto the backside. Chekio returning kind with his own. Forced them out, but Spudio catches Marcus all alone. Into the back goes Dazer, and the Sanctified Field will drop. Creed with the Lurking in the Water has the CC immunity to get out of the ultimate. Will barely find a path through, and the carry's body blocking the shot from Angry. He just throws one big one right into the backside of the Poppies. Everybody gets out except for Marcus. And now the Fire Giant that was started by Poppies is started by the Snake Pit.
Great off. Finally get his back draconic transformation. Warchi going for a spin. Gets a shell off just in time, but it's going to fall down the second top out of it. Chekio is going to be the full game. Warchi gets Dazer on the backside. And so it's going to be a 1-for-1 trade. Marcus is still dead, but just about to respawn. Draco Marino, probably the first time we've seen him go into his draconic form this game, and it proved a good table turner there.
No Fire Giant for the Snake Pit as they opted to try and fight into the Poppies themselves and end up trading that 1-1, losing Dazer for Chekio. It'll just be a full reset for this Fire Giant into another long string of will they fight, will they not? What's going to happen next? Let's go ahead and spin the Wheel of Fortune and see what comes up for us as the Poppies continue to play the Poppies game.
Which is wait. Oh, we'll win this fight. They just choose which fight they win, and they will win it. That is how it goes.
Holding off on that Whirlwind of Rage and Steel allowed them to burn the Purification Beads early in the fight, and that's what just set up for Angry on the backside. Well, now he doesn't have beads, so now we can pick him up and throw him into the midst of the team. Chekio just had no answer for it.
Well, it's not that they forced the beats, they just forced out a couple of leaps and dashes. It was mainly due to the fact that Terram and Dazer jumped in at the same time, they blinked at the same time. I think if they waited for one person to blink in, force the leaps, then the second person forces the relics, forces out whatever, then it would have been a lot more of a complete engagement on the initial push into the fire giant pit.
Well, starting at the Fire Giant down to a quarter held. Marcus is going to try and steal that one away with the lash, but it's not enough. Worst Turtle mezzed out by the ultimate of Chekio. Terram into the back line. Dazer's going to get tossed back by Creed, and Draco Marino will transform into the Dragon. Dazer gets one with the Whirlwind of Rage and Steel, but Draco managed to leap into the back on Terram. Dazer taking quite a bit of post, thrown back one more time into the midst of the fray, and the Frenzy Pop will make sure that they take down one. But as one down and a Fire Giant for Snake Pit, they're going to take that trade.
Okay, so one person falls down on the first Fire Giant for Snake Pit, and that person was Dazer. Let's check back in game one. They took Fire Giant, one person falls down. It was it was Dazer, wasn't it?
Yeah, it feels like Snake Pit are just willing to trade their support's life to get an objective every single time. And they're completely fine with it. It's a lather, rinse, repeat of what happened the first time around.
Yeah, but this time Papis do secure themselves Gold Fury. They aren't going to secure themselves any towers off this right now. It could just be a case of tower defense along the tier 2 line, give it the tier 1s to the Snake Pit. And maybe, just maybe, they can find themselves with a decent fight.
All tier 1s down on the side of Snake Pit now. It's only the tier 2s remaining for them. At 5 towers to 3 it stands, but Snake Pit will make very quick work of a few of those towers. I don't imagine the Poppies are going to hold the line anytime soon for a tier 1, and certain tier 2s, I imagine they're not just going to give up either.
What they do have to is the Pyromancer. Pyromancer is going to be what the Poppies like to take. Snake Pit still look to try and get their push sorted out. They might just go ahead and get this tier 2 tower on the right-hand side in trade. After that, that's when they're going to back off the base, and that's when they're going to look at the 5-man. They're giving it the tier 2 tower on the left-hand side. They're going to give it the Phoenix? No chance.
No, there's no way they give up Phoenix. They're going to get this tier 2 on the right side. They're going to come all the way back to make sure that they're there for the fight. They'll take the 4 for 4 over anything. Warchi still pushing through, so they're going to make it a 3v4. Dazer blinks in, but gets nobody with the ultimate except for Draco on the very tail end of it. Creed's gonna throw Dazer up into the sky, and Dazer will have to leap back with his own mobility. Warchi left all alone. Only Worst Turtle here to try and defend against him. Worst Turtle is gonna be able to save that Phoenix. Big ult from Terram into the back. Warchi forced into his own relics, but Angry has much more damage in store for him. Angry picks up one. Draco Marino into the dragon form, trying to get away from the damage of Terra. Marcus has to leap back. Still has his own bubble available, but that left side Phoenix will fall. The right on the top side still stands.
A good attempt there from Chekio as he is just trying to continue to push to get his team something from that. Unfortunately, Worst Turtle with the back. Still has his ultimate available, still has the blink available. He's going to get it into position and end onto that objective. Right-hand side, Phoenix falls. Mid-tier 2 falls. Could be the mid-Phoenix is the next on the shopping block here for the Pappies. They're going to pick a fight to win. This could be the fight to do.
All 4 versus 5. A little bit of damage into the Phoenix so far, but not really willing to full commit into it. The buff falling off in about 40 seconds. They will take their leave with the one Phoenix that was the most important, that left side one.
Yeah, left-hand side Phoenix, unfortunately, was the casualty. Nothing really much to gain from the jungle right now for either team. All farm pretty much been stripped away here on the side, on Pappi's side of the jungle. A lot of farms still remaining on the side of the Snake Pit jungle, and they're going to look to just take that up as they back off to base. 10 seconds left or thereabouts on the Fire Giant. 2 minutes left on the respawn of the Fury. So they're going to wait just another minute before that Fire Giant respawns, get that next objective. Maybe even wait for it to be enhanced before they take it down.
Could be the call for it. It's going to be respawning almost enhanced at the same time. Just a few seconds gap onto it. So I'm imagine enhanced will be the call for them on it. Chekio just going to push up that left-hand side and make sure that they have a chance at defending this Fire Giant if they so wish to. Marcus done a little bit of a ping, showing that there's a ward up here they can go ahead and take. Meanwhile, Dazer standing at the front line, seeing what he can spot on the wards he has thrown through, and he'll back away as soon as he sees 4 people running towards him in the jungle.
There we go. So the defense is going to be onto the Fire Giant from the Pappies rather than trying to defend onto the base. I want over on the left-hand side to stop that fire wave if it does eventually push. Before it does, Fire Giant on that respawn. About 8 seconds left remaining until it's available to be down. It's just a fall into the sky any second now. And crashes. There we go. The Fire Giant has now respawned, been taken out, and it's turned enhanced right about now.
And with that, enhanced Fire Giant on the map. Angry and Spudio starting it out and already taking it down to about a quarter. Days are going to get the flip onto Draco Marino. It'll be a quick disengage off the Fire Giant as both teams just kind of testing the waters at what each one is going to go through. Poppy sitting down about 9,000 gold right now. Not quite as relevant anymore as everybody's finishing out their builds. 13,000 experience doesn't even really matter as much at this stage of the game. It's only the supports who are down. Terram into the back line, goes for the knockup, looking for Chekio and Warchi, but Warchi gets into the Sappare passive. Thorns down on Terram, and that's a major force that they don't have to worry about anymore. Warchi and Chekio can now somewhat free cast onto Terram if he decides to go in. Blinking from Creed, looking back at Terram once again as they get that rage passive stuck inside the Fields of Love, and he's able to find the dash out. Sanctified Fields on top of Draco Marino, so out of transformation. It's taken a while to get through, but Worst Turtle falls and Creed finds Dazer, instantly turning it 2 for none. The Poppies come out on top of the fight.
The Pappies effect. They chose that fight as the one to win, and that fight gives them Fire Giant, and it will give them their left-hand side Phoenix once again. That's Angry. Everybody else on the care about the Queen, which is trying to go as good as they can. What will help them out? They've all reached the Fire Giant. You know, for Angry instead, they want this kill. They will be able to take out what you're going to fall down. Oh, it's not the best thing up there. They could have Fire Giant left it in front of the zone, but instead they all kill off it. They get killed, they lose one in return. Let's go out with force. The half bomb is stunned is great though. With Chekio, oh sorry, Creed is like the audio Draco Marino with the hammer. Chekio is still around. Terram gonna get stunned. No, not gonna get stunned. We're gonna eat a lot of damage for his trouble.
They're not dead. They're surely alive. Terram gets the leap through, but the heart bomb will get it. Chekio finally manages to clean up the solo laner. That fight looked so good for Snake Pit to start it out, but once those thorns were down off of Tarum, that was the full re-engage call. Warchi just got left alone to free cast during it at that point. Thrown into the fields of love, there was nowhere he could go. I thought, that was the end for Tarum, but he managed to find the one gap, and all the while, Worst Turtle into the back just gets blown up by Warchi and Draco Marino. Creed managed to find Dazer all throughout it. And at this point, I'm the Poppies. I'm just saying commit to the Fire Giant, but then they made the mistake of trying to box into Angry and Spudio.
And don't forget, that entire fight happened without Marcus there. Marcus was back at base defending on that left-hand side. He was making sure that the time didn't take too much damage in the 5 minutes. Pyromancer is going to be the call for the Poppies, but that is going to be taken by them. Right, he baited out here. And it is going to be started up. Not so sure how they can do this objective, but the Snake Pit, it's going to be, alarm bells are ringing.
Fire Giant down to half. Warchi and Chekio still committing. Dazer blinks into the back. The lava pools are down and forces Chekio out. And Warchi has to disapparate, but Worst Turtle finds Chekio all alone. Draco's dot damage is enough from the breath to take it down. They trade 1-1, but that's their mid lane hunter for an assassin. A trade that Snake Pit are willing to take. The brunt of their damage is now away, so Poppies have to back off the Fire Giant yet again.
Marcus still has his blink available, still has his beat for just a second. Ultimate up on the line as well. Still has plenty of opportunity here to turn the tide of these fights. Does this Carly? Don't fight them.
Oh, Dazer gets CC chained into oblivion, and Warchi gets the last string of it. Thrown into the back of Spudio, but he has the agility to get away. Angry, not able to get that knockback online fast enough for him, so he'll live through for the time being. Marcus forced into the destruction ultimate. Creed throws Spudio to the back for one more agility again. We'll make sure Spudio gets out. Tarum already used that Shield of Thorns. He doesn't have it available. Another pluck by Creed. Third one on point from him. Tarum not going to live for much longer as Warchi is just pumping shot after shot into him.
Yeah, and it's coming down like 1-4. No anti-heal on the side of the Snake Pit, meaning that Warchi's just going through them like that without any repercussions, really. But it's a topic of 2 didn't even attack on Worst Turtle. But without Chekio, without Draco Marino, those things get melted away. Fire Giant and Fire Giant goes ahead finally. They open themselves up with a nice little opportunity to get the lead for themselves. Only 3K behind the gold. Gold's not where it's at right now in terms of experience. And you can see in the experience graphs, Draco Marino is ahead of Dazer. The graphs themselves don't really show the picture.
Warchi, what are you doing up there, my man? Just kind of walking into the Phoenix. Ultimate with the Fields of Love, drop down. Angry forced to use his Purification. Big Supernova doing so much damage to Angry into the back. But here comes Worst Turtle trying to wrap, and he gets stunned out. The dot from Fafnir is enough because Creed's able to get the final shot. Draco Marino taking up the Phoenix so they can drop that one down. Creed low, but Angry even lower. Marcus will find him before he gets to the fountain. Into the sky goes Spudio. He'll land into the back and finds Marcus. Warchi, the only one to stand and box up against him. Draco Marino missed the stun. Chekio trying to get any auto that he can. Spudio, it's the last defense that they have. The Aegis, the Heart Bomb is going to be enough. Chekio finds him. Tarum and Dazer, the last 2 standing against the Poppies. Dazer down to a quarter health. He's forced back to the fountain. Tarum, with no ultimate available, stands between 4 and the Titan, but there's no chance that they hold this one out. Titan down to a quarter, and Titan will fall. Poppies take the set 2-0.
2-0, and it was good for them. Both games, they were behind in the early game, but both games they find just the one fight they needed to fight, and they get the dub in a 2-0 fashion, proving themselves to be the number 1, number 2 seed in the Europe right now, going toe-to-toe with Belt Slap, 2-0ing their 2 closest competitions, and just absolutely demolishing one of the SOC teams from last week. It's a good time to be a Pappies fan right now, and they've just continued to improve ever since that second place finish.
And in all honesty, they're just going to keep improving at this rate. I mean, I would be worried if I was Belt Slap. Still a little bit of sloppy play out of the Poppies, but with a couple of little tweaks and finishes to it, they really can stand up to potentially take the number 1 seed away from Belt Slap if they're caught slipping.
Yeah, but you have to give a points though to the Snake Pit as well. I mean, yes, they did lose 2-0, but they had some fantastic team play. They got some good drafts as well. It just fell apart in those late game team fights, specifically around the Fire Giant. And we talked about it in set number 1. I'm going to talk about it again. Warchi and Marcus healing in their kit. Chekio went to Varus Gordon is healing in his kit. Icrid is healing in his kit, as does Drake and Marino, so all of them are healing in their kit. So why are we not building anti-heal?
Because other stats are so much more important to have into it. But when you look down the board onto it, you see 1 Toxic Blade. So they had an anti-heal, just only in the form of Bakasura, which in all honesty is not enough, especially against Warchi, who has triple lifesteal plus his Radiance and anything else that comes through, and just in general, all the extra healing that comes out for the rest of the team. I don't feel that the anti-heal was necessarily the problem with it. I mean, they were putting out the matches. It just came down to, I think there was a disconnect between Dazer and Tarum in these last 2 fights of what they wanted to do.
I agree. It was sort of highlighted in that mid lane engagement where they both blinked and both used the ultimate at the same time. That sort of told me that they wanted, the call was to engage, but the call wasn't saying who was going to engage. Just a slight tweak in the comms there, and I think Snake Pit have a much better chance of, taking this game and maybe forcing it to a game 3, maybe potentially even taking the set.
Yeah, Snake Pit are down this week, but they're not out of it entirely. Their matchup here against the Poppies, in my opinion, so far, solidify them as a solid 3rd place team amongst the SCC for the European side. And Poppies, I mean, they're showing why they were the number 2 seed team. We still need to see how they can perform against Belt Slap this split after they took the set onto them last time in the playoffs for phase number 2. I think the match that everybody wants to watch is going to be Belt Slap and Poppies in these upcoming weeks.
Yeah, and that's one to look out in the diary for. It's one that I'm going to be penciling in the second I get around to viewing it myself. It's going to be an absolutely insane game. It's going to continue on their rivalry from the second split.
Yeah, I think that is the staple game of the EU SCC is Poppies and Belt Slap. We all like to see, Poppies and Belt Slap versus Snake Pit and versus Cold Llamas, but in all reality, that is the set that we are looking forward to for the EU SCC. But that's going to do it for us tonight here on the amateur broadcast team for the SMITE Challenger Circuit. J Mac Tucker and Alpha Jackal on the mics, Jithan's on production. We'll see you guys back tomorrow for the North American Challenger Circuit with Blazy and Lermy to bring you guys the mics on, to bring you guys casting for that. So until then, we'll see you guys next time.